Hey folks, Mark here from SeaWorld Earth, and today I'm going to start a new little series about, it just goes into telling you a little bit about some of the backstories on some of the images that I take. I've not been able to take you out on every photo shoot I've done, so this will be a little bit of an insight into the good, the bad and the ugly of how we get, or how I get particular shots. Now, many of you would have noticed that I've taken shots at a place called Cape Zampa. It's that place with the lighthouse. Just to refresh your memory, here's a quick slideshow of just some of the images I've taken from that spot. Pretty awesome, right? Now, it is a very, like a hot spot for tourism here in Okinawa, and what you'll find is that people generally tend to take the same image, but that whole area around there is just so full of awesome locations, angles, and just different compositions. Just by going a little bit off the beaten path, you can find things that are just pretty damn spectacular. Now, there is one shot that I've just had printed, because I am actually going to get around to decorating a little bit my office with some prints finally. And there's one particular shot that I'm quite proud of, and that's this one here. Now, the lighthouse you can see is over on the end of the shot here. That's actually between there and where I'm shooting is probably maybe about almost 1.5 kilometers, nearly 2 kilometers, and it's that long walk that stops a lot of people going there to get the shot. Now, as you can see here, you've got this nice composition with this rock in the foreground, this nice little single rock over here, and in between the rocks there you've got this huge cliff and the lighthouse over there. I would have liked to have a few more clouds on this particular shot. I did take it with a very strong ND filter, hence the specific look that you get with ND filters. But you can see here all of how sheer this area is, and in order to get to this location, it is super sheer. Now, in Okinawa, I started when I first came here a few years ago, almost 4 years ago. I started a photographic community on Facebook. It's a private group only for people in Okinawa, because there's a lot of information that we share about certain locations, settings, group trips, that kind of stuff, or letting people just network between themselves to hook up and go take photographs, which is pretty awesome. There's about 1,800 members as of today, which is great. And on one particular occasion, a guy saw this shot and he said, "Hey, I really want to get that composition. Can you show me where it is?" And I said, "Look, you know, it's quite rocky." I said, "I'm not going to take any responsibility for you if you hurt yourself." And he was like, "Yeah, fine, no worries, no worries." He was a member of the community, so I had met him before. I was a little bit concerned because he's, you know, a bit of a large lad, but he confirmed that he was okay for it. So off we went. Now, getting down to this location is pretty treacherous. The rock gets steep enough that there are actually ropes that have been put in place to allow people to let themselves down. Predominantly, I think those ropes have been placed there by fishermen, because this area is an area where a lot of local fishermen frequent. It's also an area of tremendously rough ocean, so you have to be very, very careful on days. Check the conditions, sit and watch the conditions before you actually go here to take a photograph. It can be fatal. In this coastline, unfortunately, people do every year meet their end. which is unfortunate in itself. But that's by the by. We got going down the cliff face, and about a third of the way down, the guy was like, well, maybe my knee might be a little bit twinging a bit. He said, but he soldiered on. Now, the day before, it had rained, and when we'd gotten down all of the sheer cliff face, I thought, okay, that's great. We started walking along this little muddy path that had about a 30 to 40 degree incline on it, and sure enough, he took a step, slipped over, and just twisted his knee to an extent where he could put absolutely no weight on it. Now, this is a guy that weighs about, at the time, about 300 pound, 280, 300 pound. So it was going to be a chore. We didn't have cell phone coverage, or very little, very weak cell phone coverage at that location because of the sheer cliffs. And Okinawa isn't a tech hub by any means. So long story short, we had to put in effect, I had to contact the US military because he was a contractor, and he worked on some of the bases, so he was covered by their services. They then put in a complete evacuation with all the whistles and bells, all of the sirens, all of the emergency services. The US military came down. There was the Japanese rescue fire. From the Japanese fire brigade, a rescue team came down with stretchers, and they literally had to manhandle this guy in a stretcher, strap him into a stretcher, and literally mountain rescue him out of this location. Now, I do actually have a series of photographs that I took on my cell phone, which I'm going to play in a second, just to show you the adventure we had of getting this guy out and back to safety. Roll the images. What a crazy adventure. Happy to say that as a result, the guy actually did have to have a surgery on his knee, which he is now fully recovered from. It took him about 8 weeks to recover, and he has since departed Okinawa. He's now based back in the US, but we stay in regular contact. He actually made a postcard which I gave him free rein to use, this image with another image down in the corner of the evacuation that he then presented to all of the firemen and emergency service personnel that helped us that day to get him back to safety, which I thought was a really cool thing on his part. So what a great time. But yeah, just an adventure behind an image, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you more tales, some funny, a bit funnier, from some of the other pictures that I've taken here in Okinawa. Now, some of you may have noticed right here that I've got my Patreon up on the page, and if you don't know what Patreon is, basically it's a web service that allows people to sponsor, in a way, their content creators, people that they follow who are content creators. Now I've created 3 different tiers for $5, $7.50 and $15 a month. So for the price of a cup of coffee or less, you know, if you're so motivated, you can support my endeavors to try and make the video production a full-time thing for me here, so that I can bring you adventures from in and around Okinawa moving forward, which is hopefully more content, more ideas. There'll be a few more gear reviews and stuff like that, because I'm starting to get a bit more gear in the go now. So with each different membership tier, okay, most of it's open to the general public just to generate interest, but some posts like this you can unlock by becoming a patron, and some of the other perks of different membership tiers is that you also get to make certain decisions on where we go direction wise, and also getting your name in the credits of some of the films that I do make. So what an awesome way to check it out. Now the link for this is in the description below. Alright, so check that out if you so want to become a member of that service to help me. No worries, that's always welcome. But that's it for today, folks. If you haven't subscribed, please do hit the notification bell so you get updated as and when there's new content from yours truly, and hopefully very soon I will be back at you with another tale behind the shot. Alright then, take care, and I'll speak to you soon.